Warning, this podcast contains graphic language. What's going on out there in the ministry? What's going on, MGTOW? What's going on, Red Pill? What's going on, Blue Pill? What's going on, all you cocksuckers out there? Welcome to KDR Podcast. One of the hottest podcasts for MGTOW and all the men out there in the world, single and doing their own shit. Welcome to the shit show that it is. Kendall Rican Podcast. One of the hottest shit on the block because the block is hot like butterscotch, my fellas. So here we go. Let me go do this thing here. So tonight podcast is going to be very unique, just like myself. That's why I go my own way. So no further ado, this is your first time out here. I play a little intro and I'll continue with the conversation. So no further ado, let me do this thing here real quick. Let me go to the device and let's hit it with the intro, maestro. All right. We're feeling good tonight. We are feeling good tonight. Welcome to the West Coast, gentlemen. Welcome to the West fucking shit coast. Literally, it's a shit show everywhere. Homeless people everywhere. Everything is all fucked up out here in the West Coast. Literally. No doubt about it. You know, when it comes down to this podcast that I do, I like to put a little bit perspective when it comes down to my own life and stuff like that. And I like to bring up true story and stuff. I'm just your average Joe. I'm just your average man who have this little YouTube channel and I used to talk shit. That's all I do. I don't get monetized. I don't give a fuck about monetization and stuff like that. And so, true story. 2 days ago, I'm conducting my own business. Literally conducting my own business. And I just happened that I would take a shit. And I'm close by the mall. So I decided, man, you know, when you gotta take a shit, right? So I'm between jobs, between gigs and stuff like that. I got my own vehicle and stuff like that. And, you know, the guts is just saying, oh, shit, you got to take a shit, motherfucker. So I'll park at the mall. And I haven't been in the mall in years, believe it or not. And I'll go straight to the bathroom. And then all of a sudden, the health department of Washington called me. Well, I'm taking a shit. So I'm going to give you two scenarios that took place yesterday and today. So I'm at the mall, I'm taking a shit, and, you know, I got to deal with my phone a lot because I got customers and I got to text and stuff like that. And I was wondering how the health department got the number of my number. I was wondering, right? And I'm sitting on the toilet on this cubicle and stuff like that. And all of a sudden I hear these soft voice, a male soft voice, sound like a little bitch, like a soy boy. And I cannot hear him very well. And he's like, "Are you Mr. So-and-so? This is the health department. And can you take a few minutes for a survey?" And I'm like, "Sir, I cannot hear you. Can you speak louder?" "Yes, I can speak louder. We are here taking a survey on the Washington State Health Department, and we're just wondering, can you reply for a few questions and stuff like that?" And I told him, "Listen, sir, I'm literally taking a shit. I'm glad to answer all your questions, but I'm taking a shit." He's like, "Oh, excuse me, sir, but it's okay. I can call another time." No, I was like, "No, it's fine. I'm fine. You're not call me anytime because I'm busy. So this is the best time. What service you gonna do when I'm taking a shit? Oh, it's okay, sir. Go ahead and manage your own business. Okay, boom, hung up. Great, dandy. I'll take a survey. What the fuck? I'm taking the shit. I got free time. Meanwhile, I had to conduct my own fucking business. So that was yesterday. Today in the morning, I got a call. And I'm just waking up. My friends. I'm just waking up. And I got this call with, they tricksters. These callers are tricksters. First, they got a message. This is an urgent call. It's so urgent that you have to speak to a representative and stuff like that. And I'm waking up. I'm like, oh, it's an urgent call, right? So I better, answer this call. So I press 1, and he goes to a guy out there, another man out there. I'm like, listen, man, it's so urgent. What is the urgency about? Are you Mr. So-and-so? Yes, I'm Mr. So-and-so. What is the problem? You had a debt, you have a debt or something. And like, excuse me? And then I'm trying to correlate what the debt is all about. Because I'm not in debt, by the way. It was one of these, in my city, the internet is so fucked up. So I decide to have this city internet. And I bought the router and I bought this shit. And the fucking thing did not work properly. And after 1 month, I say, fuck the bill, fuck this shit. It's not working properly. And I figured out this is the only debt that I got. It's like $100 something, right? So he told me, this debt. I was like, excuse me, what debt? What debt we talking about? I'm in debt. You in debt. Everybody's in debt. We had $35,000 in debt in this country. Who's going to pay this debt? Do you have the money for $35,000 in debt? Do you, sir? Because I don't have the money. Obviously, you're collecting debt, and I don't know what you're talking about this debt. And all of a sudden, I hear this song. This sound. Beep, beep, beep. He hung up. As soon as I talk about a debt, and I went out on a fact. They raised the ceiling on debt. I'm talking about all kinds of debt issues, right? And then all of a sudden, he didn't say shit. And he hung up the phone. Unbelievable. True story. True fucking story. I don't know how these people got my number. I don't know how the hell the health department got my number. And I figured out what it comes down to debt because I don't own no debt. I don't own no credit card. I don't own everything for me is bought and paid for. If I don't have the money, guess what? I'm not buying. My credit score sucks. I'm going to be brutal with you. The last time I looked at it, it was like a year ago. And what they call this credit karma bullshit. 650. I don't give a fuck. My bank send me all kinds of credit cards, all kinds of shit all the fucking time. 0% for 13 months. And this shit and bullshit and stuff like no. I understand it's a debt system right here, but I'm not going to be in debt. And I'm not in debt. Whatever I got. I buy, I hold, I fix it, and shit like that. So that's kind of ironic that you got two individuals calling my private phone. And how this data is collected is It's insane. It is. But like I said previously, and I mentioned, this live stream tonight is gonna be very awkward, okay? Because I'm gonna play sound bites and stuff like that, and I want to take it old school, and I want to keep these this live stream very pithy, and I want to go back to the roots of the MGTOW philosophy and stuff like that, and I just do. I'm just gonna do the live stream how is according to my mind, you know. And just bear with me because it's been a long fucking day. So let me do this thing here real quick. Who's in the house? It's late. I know it's late. It's late. I'm out here in the West Coast. It's late. You know, I didn't mean to put a podcast out here tonight, but sometimes the noodles, you know, the noodle it works crazy, you know. The noodle, the brain, it works in different ways. It really does. Especially when it comes down with me, you know. Sometimes I want to be artistic. Sometimes I want to do this. Sometimes I want to do that. Sometimes I want to go here. Sometimes, and MGTOW is freedom. It's freedom. I don't have attachment to anyone. I don't own anyone anything. And I'm trying to do the best that I can do for myself. And trying to progress for me and others and my family. So I want to take this old school here and just to leave it up for the live stream, you know. And this is a video that I created like 3 years ago with Barbarossa. And it took me like a couple hours to make this sound and his voice and shit like that. And I thought it came out pretty cool. So I want to play this in the live stream. And then I'm going to call the live stream, you know, I want to call it off the live stream. So just bear with me 1 second here.
This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual purge sanctioned by the U.S. government.
You know, I find it ironic that the tool of feminism and the feminists that employ it is by far the most odious form of oppression, not just for men, but for women as well. Now, don't get me wrong. Men suffer far more under the iron curtain of Marxist feminism. For some odd reason, women seem to be more miserable than ever. And that's because the worst thing Western women could have done is to bog themselves down in the tar pits chasing the feminist fantasy that speaks to the very worst parts of the female psyche. Indeed, the entire reason that women have been such a privileged class throughout history is because only the good parts of her nature were displayed openly in society for everyone to see. Feminism, for the first time possibly in recorded history, has allowed Western women to show their true nature, and it's the worst possible thing they could have done for themselves because now the physical beauty of women comes as a double-edged sword of documented and well-known, unbridled greed, manipulation, and toxicity. And not since the days of Samson and Delilah have men been so keenly aware of the destruction and havoc women can visit upon them. And so now, women can no longer fetch the admiration and devotion of men in any meaningful way. Men aren't amazed or awestruck when we look at women. Men are suspicious and cautious and frankly want as little to do with women as possible. And when men want as little to do with something as possible, we strip down our interaction with it to the necessities, which means that men generally only want to be around women for as long as it takes to fuck them. And feminism and the women who practice it are to blame, not men. Feminism made women absolutely unbearable to be around and impossible to form lasting bonds with, and so by default, men categorized you as nothing but the very sex objects feminists claim the patriarchy labeled you as. That's why the Western woman is so intent on making sure everybody notices her outfit that show just enough ass and tits for plausible deniability. At work, on the street, in the supermarket, at the DMV, at Blockbuster, and everywhere else. Because sex is all they are. They have nothing else. Ass and tits and painted up faces that make them look like clowns and heels that make them look taller than what they really are. That's all they have left. Now, some of the more perceptive Western women are starting to realize the size and scope of the trap they've been tricked into laying for themselves, but it really doesn't matter whether they see it or not. Because for the first time, men are on the precipice of adopting a line of thought that sticks a collective middle finger in the faces of Western femdom as a whole and tells them that this time, you're digging yourselves out of your own mess. The manginas that haven't figured out how much the very women they grovel to despise them aren't going to save you. You may have government catching you with their safety nets, but in reality, all they can really do for you is throw more money at the symptoms of your misery. The feminist governments in the West are so good at hiding the fact that they're such a huge part of the cause of the Western woman's sickness that she believes government to be the cure for it. The Western skank isn't going to be saved by the hordes of doctors scripting her more antidepressants than ever, and she isn't going to be saved by going to church and expecting men to believe that that makes them somehow cleanse of the stench of the long list of men in her past. God may forgive your degeneracy, but men still know what you are, what you've done, and more importantly, who you've done, so you'll have to excuse us if we really aren't in the mood to accommodate reformed whores that want to be housewives. But even more than that, men don't even want housewives anymore. Because after a half-century of feminism, the only real result I can see is that women have lost their luster and retain only a fraction of the appeal they held in the days of fabricated oppression and patriarchy. And the worst part for them is that the fraction of appeal they've managed to hold on to, i.e. their pussies, depreciates in value with age and with use by other men. It's truly a sad state of affairs for Western women, but I can't say I really feel sorry for them, and that's because there's a new species of man emerging from the primordial ooze of the gender war. The post-feminism man, a type of man that terrorizes feminists because he refuses to serve, he refuses to bow, and he does what he wants to do. The post-feminism man isn't worried about pleasing women because he sees any woman that isn't pleased with him as insignificant. He has a hair trigger mechanism ingrained into every fiber of his being that simultaneously and reflexively identifies and detaches him from any female he's involved with that gives him even one iota of feminist bullshit. He doesn't uphold, maintain, or pursue relationships. He's seen enough relationships to know that the ship is sinking. He isn't a partisan. He understands the futility of believing that the White House or the halls of Congress or Parliament or wherever his politicians conduct business are anything other than the ground zero epicenters of feminist power and influence. The post-feminism man is a nice guy, thug, a bad boy, or an educated man, or whatever. He isn't concerned with providing for or banging child support-obsessed baby mamas, and he recognizes these two groups of men as nothing more than two warring factions of men grandstanding and vying for access to used-up pussy. He's not a race, he's not a sperm donor, he's not an ATM machine, or anything else. The only thing that the post-feminism man irrefutably is and will be is what he's always been. Just a man, ready and willing and fully equipped to withstand and confront Marxist feminism on all of its fronts.
You know, before I cut the live stream off, right? Bar, he was right. What, 8 years ago, 9 years ago? And I can see this now. They even look crazier. You see all these chicks, multiple tattoos, multiple hair colors, showing their ass, showing their tits, walking around in different retail stores, supermarket and shit like that. They don't even dress up anymore. And it's almost here, right? Out in the Pacific Northwest. And they're trying to show their tattoos. They're trying to show up this shit, and have provocative clothing and stuff like that. And these resonate with me because that's all they have left. Ass and tits, tattooed, and they broke. Nothing left. And there's a lot of men married to these bitches. They look like clowns. Because that's what they look like. Clowns, especially in my state, especially in my city. Literally, like clowns. They don't even dress up anymore. They out there in their pajamas and shit. When it's hot outside, they wear some kind of thong with fishnet coat and stuff like that. They were seeking attention. There was some women are so entitled because of feminism. They are. And those men who marry those type of women, I don't know what kind of men they are. I've seen all these chicks that are married and stuff like that wearing provocative clothing, enticing men to look at them. Trust me, I see on a daily. So when Barbar was talking about this 8-9 years ago, he's correct back then, and he's correct right now. You know, the American women, especially, because I can only talk about my state. I don't know what's going on in Alabama. I don't know what's going on out there in my state, out here in the state of Washington, on the West Coast. This chicks they have demolished their body in different ways. They got these fucking loop shit on the ear loop and stuff. Tattoos everywhere. They think they cool and trendy and shit. And a lot of them, they overweight and stuff like that. And they wearing stuff that they don't belong to be wearing. And sometimes it's like, a lot of times it's, not sometimes, a lot of times I'm being like, I'm holding my tongue because it's of YouTube, to be honest. But in my view, they just disgusting. Disgusting. They think they look cool. They think they look trendy. They think they out there with a crowd and shit like that. Good luck to those bitches. Good luck. Good luck finding a man who's gonna marry your fucking crazy ass with multiple tattoos and open up asshole earlobes and shit like that. Good luck with that shit. Good luck with those all those tattoos and shit in 10 years from now. Because now he's cool and trendy because he's young and stuff like that. Wait. When the fucking skin starts sagging and stuff like that. And most of these fucking skanks, they overweight by the way and stuff like that. Wait till that shit. You know, I got this personal friend out there on Facebook. And there's a lot of like minorities that like these thick women. Right? Especially, you know, my demographic, I'm in my 40s, right? And they like these thick women on their 20s. And I told them, listen, man, they're in their 20s. And they quote unquote thick. Wait till they get in their 30s. They're going to be obese. They didn't have no discipline on their teens. They're going to run a mile and shit like that. And all of a sudden, it's like everywhere. It's like fat is beautiful and shit like that. Or thick, whatever, chunky, whatever, wonky shit. I tell them, like, listen, give or take another 5 years, she's going to be obese. You're gonna have to carry this bitch on a fucking wheelchair. It's not too much good time, I guess. Too much good time and too much propaganda, too much corporation fitting women bullshit, fitting men bullshit, you know. Too much technology. Just like your average people don't know how to go out there and do things for their own, you know, for their own, and figure out things and stuff like that. They don't. Everything's about the computer, what's trendy, what's this, what's that. I'm cool. I want to be this. I want to be that. I don't know what gender I am. I'm this. I'm that. I'm confused. I'm queer. I'm not queer. I'm there. I'm straight. You know. They're trying to confuse the people's psychic. They are, especially with technology nowadays. You know, not nowadays, for the last 20-something years, right? But those who like get caught up in this nonsense, they cannot have the difference between reality and what is in the internet. But the internet is a whole different beast. It is. The internet, you can pretend like you something, but you ain't shit. You know? If I put imagery where I live at, just like half a mile away, you will not believe where I live at. Drug addicts, hanging around, camp, all kinds of shit. And I do, you know, go to the store, bodega, Korean bodega, and stuff like that, get the beer and shit like that. If I put this imagery out there, you will say, Ken Rica, man, you live in a fucking fucked up place. And then I say, hey, I do, but I'm not nearby that close, but I'm in the hood. I am in the hood. And I see things on a daily. Because it's reality. It's reality. Now, if I put a video, walk and talk, MGTOW shit, and I'm in the woods and stuff like that, well, that's my mind getting away from the situation that I live at. Reality is reality. The internet, you can create stuff, and the internet is great, man, because it has connected different views, different things on a global scale. It hasn't happened in human history. But we're here. We're part of this shit. But you have some people who believe on this, on that, and they don't have their own mind, their own situation, but they're trying to create their own situation throughout different outlets in the internet, and they're trying to pretend like they're bigger than who they are, shit like that, you know. The way I see this thing is Earth, and then it's outer space. You have to live in reality and understand, or try to understand, or make a little bit of common sense how the world work or not work, or whatever, right? Common sense. Common sense. Just common sense, dude. And that's the problem that is happening in the Western society. Western society have lost their fucking common sense. They have. My hope, man, the common sense will prevail. I'm not asking for anything. I'm not even asking. It's just my own collective thought. Like I said previously, I'm out here on the internet expressing my mind. But it is for the hope for the Western world that common sense will come back and prevail, and we can go back to the foundations. Now, would I hold my breath? Of course not. And that's what happened. Too much indoctrination through the school system. Too much plan out, especially the school system, indoctrinated these kids and stuff like that. I was indoctrinated, and everybody who's being like 70 and above indoctrinated. Now they're trying to bring more indoctrination into the school system. So pretty much what I'm trying to explain or say, those who are in the matrix, they're going to be in the matrix. Those who decide to take the red pill, we're going to be out of the matrix. Because we understand. But it's going to be to each individual to find their own path to get the fuck away from the matrix and find your goal in life. Now that is a bitch. That is a fucking bitch. What is your goal? What is your purpose? Why are you here on earth? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? What happened took place in the past? And shit and stuff like that. It's a bitch. It's a fucking bitch. To try to get away from the matrix. And try to do your own thing. But we are so connected with the matrix that you either have to choose your own battle. You have to. Either I'm out of it, go out there in some kind of wood, live out there in some kind of land, do your shit, or we can compromise. And there's no compromise. There's no compromise. You're part of it. Unless you're out there in some kind of place that there's nothing going on. Otherwise, we still here compromising with the matrix. It's a bitch. It's a fucking bitch, man. I think about this shit all the fucking time. But anyway, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. It's 30 minutes. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you guys out here in these late night podcasts. And like I always say, peace. State MGTOW. Let the universe be with you. I'm out.